Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. Wanted to address the issue of liberals in prepping. And I'm just going to set it up like this. And this is going to be a quick video. So you have the general idea, the consensus belief amongst preppers is that there isn't a lot of liberal preppers. But I would beg to differ in that respect. There are a lot of liberal preppers, and they're called hippies. And they just go at prepping from a different perspective. You have conservative preppers and you have liberal preppers. I'm just going to provide a disclaimer that I personally don't really align myself with any side of the political dialectic. I like to think. And I think that labeling myself or labeling other people as this, that, or whatever is more of a convenient cop-out, and doesn't really sort of move the conversation forward at all. Anyways, so you have hippies and you have quote-unquote rednecks, and, you know, they're both diametrically opposed politically, but at the same time they are unique in the sense that they both practice some kind of self-sufficiency. Now, the main difference there is that the hippies trust government, but they don't trust big business. Whereas the rednecks trust big business, but they don't trust big government. So that's the fundamental divide. There's not really any sort of difference within ethics. You could probably say there was some more explicit forms of bigotry on the right and more implicit forms of bigotry on the left. But all in all, you know, none is greater or worse in the sense of who's more right, you know, who's more righteous. Both have valid talking points. Now, the thing with it is that you need to understand that these two groups stem from two different fundamental philosophical approaches. Now, the hippie approach, or the liberal prepper approach, approaches prepping from the perspective of human beings are inherently good people who will, in times of crisis, come together and unite and work together towards the end of ensuring their survival. That is the humanist perspective. It says that all people want is to feel good and to be treated good and to treat others good, and that human beings are naturally fun-loving Care Bears and all that kind of stuff. The other perspective, which is more commonly affiliated with the right, who emphasizes things like security and defense, and I should say that the left tends to emphasize self-sufficiency, so in the homesteading sense, in the farming sense, in the communal sense, that's where you're going to find the hippie liberal preppers, if you can even call them that. Because like I said, I don't like labels. But on the right, you have a security-focused approach, and that is rooted in the philosophy of psychoanalysis and this idea that human beings are fundamentally animals. And so it's the complete opposite of the humanist approach, that human beings are sort of canned heat and just sort of waiting for civilization to collapse, to be unleashed, to unleash the beast. And, you know, that we are repressed. It's the Freudian view that, you know, civilization has put so many constraints on man that we are animalistic by nature, but that we've been reined in by society. Whereas the hippie approach is to say that, you know, humans by nature are fun, optimistic, you know, happy people, and that war and violence is a consequence of civilization. So, I mean, they are two views which are, like I said, they are diametrically opposed, and both do have points of merit. You know, if you sat down and listened to a humanist argue with a psychoanalyst, you know, you would be hard, a jury would find it hard to convict either or of, you know, promoting a false ideology. But that's the fundamental difference. It's not a huge difference. There are liberal preppers out there. Yes, many people are turned off by the guns. Many liberals are turned off by things that right-wing preppers would be, turned on by. I do think that there is somewhat of a harmonization of these two views happening. I have hippie friends who are starting to be more sort of warmed up to the idea of hunting and hunter-gathering and stuff like that, which of course requires firearms. So that's sort of an inroad to that discussion. And then you have a lot of people on the right who are starting to look more at, the importance of renewable energy sources. Not just for a save the planet type mentality, Agenda 21 type thing, but more of a, hey, this is the economical thing to do. This is the right choice to make. So, you have that sort of harmonization happening, and I think the best thing we can do is, the best thing I try to do is not, align myself. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Do what you want. You have your reasons for doing it, and that's fine. But personally, I try to keep politics out of my channel just because, I'm not here to tell anyone what to think or who to vote for. I think preparedness, when it comes down to it, there's only going to be survivors and the ones who've passed on. And the same thing, I feel the same way about race and the Ferguson stuff. I choose not to get into it. Some people, everybody wants to express their opinion about it, and that's fine too. But, I don't really sense that the conversation's moving forward at all. It just seems to be moving backwards because, everybody's talking and nobody's listening. And at the end of the day, no matter what race, ideology, creed, ethnicity a person is of, they will be a survivor or they will be dead. And the strongest groups will take the strengths from all of those and, not be, the ones that don't are going to be shortchanging themselves. So that's all I got to say about that. I think, it feels like I could, talk about this a lot longer and talk about it in more depth, and, I probably could, but I think I'll leave it at that for now, and we'll see where the conversation goes. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out. All right, there was one more thing I wanted to add to this conversation, and it's to do with why liberals tend to perhaps be underrepresented in the prepping thing. Now, as I said, there are hippie preppers, but I think part of the reason is, as I said, liberals trust government, don't trust big business, whereas, conservatives trust big business, they don't trust government. So, clearly, if you trust government more, you're going to expect that they're going to help you in times of need. Now, liberals, or left-wing people, I should say, also tend to, they're of the belief that, they share in the belief that the monetary system isn't right and that, things are not moving in the right direction. So that might be an inroad to that discussion, with them about preparedness, is that, they talk about it from the sense of unsustainability. That buzzword, unsustainability, is a sort of hook with liberal preppers, more so than it is with conservatives. The conservative view, once again, is more protective, more defensive, more concerned with police state, tyranny, loss of rights and freedoms and stuff like that, which are both, equally valid perspectives. I mean, the funny thing is that the monetary system, destroys both of those things. It does destroy the environment, the one that we have now, and it also destroys our rights and freedoms. So yeah, you're both right. So that could be an inroad to that discussion. And, you start up with the self-sufficiency aspect. Okay, renewable energy sources, gardening, stuff like that. And then you get into the discussion of, okay, corporate government merger or fascism, how, the corporations are in bed with government, and then you start to sort of chip away at their faith in government because now you've shown that government is corrupt. So no, government may not come to save you. Then you take that one step further. How are you going to, if government isn't going to protect you, then how are you going to secure your energy sources and protect your community and things of that nature? And that's when the lines start to blur between left and right. Anyways, I'm going to leave it at that. So for real this time, thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.